What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. Today you get an episode of Brain Day talking about 5 things that you might be dramatically underrating about Caustic and why he could be the legend for you to start getting more rank wins, to start getting more gameplay experience and feeling good about your game in Apex Legends. And this video is going to underline why. Now, of course, I'm starting off and we're in the quarantine setup, so it may look a little bit different, but I actually have a pretty nice camera today, so I'm excited to be here for you guys. If you want to stay tuned with me and ask me little questions, hey, Rain Day, what gun should I use? Hey, how do you feel about this legend? Hit me up on Twitter at Rain Day Gaming, and of course on Instagram at Rain Day Gaming as well. We just passed 2K followers. Appreciate you guys. I'm running a giveaway for that as well. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video, which is Caustic and why you might be dramatically underrating Caustic right now. Now, Caustic, notoriously in Apex Legends, is a legend that people have underestimated and felt that is not good. And that's because when he first came out, he was not good. He was kind of memed on as being Tim the Tap Man's main because obviously, you know, there's some similarities look-wise, but mostly it was just, you know, Tim wanted to play this off-beaten character that wasn't really meta and could really hide and camp in buildings. And that's what Caustic has been seen as, kind of like that lower tier. You wouldn't put your main fragger on him, but he's got a lot of potential. And one of the things that I want to talk about and why that potential is there is because Caustic just won. A team with Caustic not only entered, but just won the biggest Apex Legends tournament that took place this month. The online Apex Legends Global Series #2 tournament, a Caustic and their team won. And it was Alliance GG. You got to give a shout out to the boys. I got their names here. It's Vapes, Hawkus, and Lowly. It was incredible to see them play and how they were maneuvering around a Caustic, and it gave people the opportunity to see that Caustic might actually be at the pro level. Now, even myself underestimated him in my ranking and explaining my, you know, every legend in Apex tier list. I put him below. Part of it's to create conversation. Part of it is because it doesn't matter if you're 9 through 5 as long as you're not in the top 4, right? So those are a little bit more wiggle room. But I did disrespect Caustic and say that it was unable for people to really play around the gas as his teammates. But what I was totally proven wrong is that if you commit to playing around Caustic's gas canisters, even though you may not as a teammate be able to see through them, you can find an incredible amount of success by allowing them to become tools for you to play around. For instance, you know, you don't have to have the Caustic shoot his own gas canister. If your teammate knows, hey, throw that gas canister to the right, I got someone pushing me, he could do that. The Caustic goes back to his own fire, keeps healing, and the teammate who asked for it can then shoot that gas canister, get that 5-second, 10, 6-second breathing room, or at least use it as a bait, a switch, a trap to really win that duel that he was going for. So the ability to win at a high level is there, and people didn't realize that. We got shown it this weekend, and it's one of the reasons why we might be underestimating Caustic as a legend. Let's move on to #2 here. Obviously, he's got the results in his pocket now. He's won the biggest European tournament that there was over the last few months. But now let's talk about #2, why people are dramatically underrating him. Watson is the status quo for this exact role, and it takes a second to change the status quo. I mean, think about it, guys. When you go to the bathroom and you're finished using the bathroom, maybe if you're, you know, using a 1 or 2, depending on what you know, how you kind of wipe, what do you use? A dish towel? What's it called? A dirty rag? No, you use toilet paper. You use toilet paper, guys. That's what it's all about. You use toilet paper. And so at the end of the day, we have these standard things that we decide as a society we're going to do and accept, and that's what happens. Doesn't mean we couldn't use paper towels. Doesn't mean we couldn't shower. I've been to places literally in the world where there is no toilet paper. So these people squat in the forest, and these little kids grow up and they're like, hey, yeah, that's how I go to the bathroom. What? Is there something else I should be doing? And it's unbelievable how we accept the status quo and we don't look for answers until the status quo disappears. And that's why Caustic really hasn't gotten the shine. Watson has been so good, and the status quo of what you need as far as holding down a building, being defensive, and providing that utility for your team when they're in trouble to hold and bunker in an area before you get back to health and start attacking again or making your next play, that we've ignored a lot of legends who could fill a similar role or maybe even be better, and Caustic is one of them. Although Caustic doesn't have the same defensive levels of utility that Watson has with her ultimate pylon, her generator, which allows shields to be regenerated for teammates, which is a huge bonus, Caustic can be the most powerfully offensive defensive legend, if that makes sense. If you caught that, you know, leave a like on the video, comment down below. But the what the heck? Offensive, defensive, I'm tripping. What? Oh my God, it's gross. I must have not chewed. I must have not swallowed. I don't know what just happened, guys. I'm making a video. I apologize. I need a drink of tea. So Caustic honestly is really an offensive defensive legend where he could be aggressive with his opportunity to hold down space, and he could force people away from the space that they're in, which is something that Watson doesn't really have the ability to do. And that's one of the reasons why I think he's underrated. It's that he does provide the ability to hold down a building. He does make it so if you enter this door, you get hit by the gas, we're going to blow you up as a team of 3 who are waiting for it or defending. But he also can throw that gas canister into you, and he can make sure that you have to move your safe haven and really create a problem, whether it's with his tactical, with the Nox cast canisters, or it's with his ultimate, the Nox grenade. So let's take a look at that as number 2. Number 3, though, guys, this is a big one. Caustic's passive is one of the best synergistic passives with other things in the game. So, for instance, Caustic and his ability to have 15% damage reduction for bullets gives him a leg up advantage in 1v1 duels. And it also allows him to not be slowed by any bullets, which in Apex Legends, light bullets, heavy bullets, energy bullets, they slow you so that you move slower and you become easier to hit as you're taking more damage, which is often why if you realize this, when you're getting shot, it's sometimes harder to dodge than when you haven't been shot, or unless you're playing Bangalore, you wouldn't really understand that. So the idea around it is Caustic has this inherent benefit in 1v1s, and yes, he's a bit of a bigger hitbox, but that means that he can take advantage of things like an Evo shield and get even more from it. When you're already taking 15% less damage, when you have 25 more armor, that 25 more armor becomes 15% more valuable. It becomes you're able to use more out of that life that you're given than other legends may be. And it's kind of like the way that I described Lifeline, being able to kind of split the difference with the gold shield as well as the red shield, considering the fact that she can run red and have her passive of 25% healing instead of the gold and take 50%, but not the extra 25 armor. That's kind of what Caustic can do. Also, you look at sniping battles, right? When you're trying to hit headshots or you're playing wingman fights, a Caustic is going to be able to take that extra hit or just be able to be that extra bit worse in order to basically make mistakes, mess up, and then continue to be effective when the time is required of him to. So you could basically have more wiggle room to lose. And that's one of the biggest reasons why people are kind of disrespecting and underrating Caustic. It's a real big benefit that most people don't realize or don't, I think, consider as valuable, because his hitbox does get the biggest attention. It does get that thing like such a huge hitbox, can't play him, not a good hitbox. Just want to change your thinking about that. Maybe bigger, but he's stronger. He's stronger too. Give some more wiggle room there. All right, number 4 here as we're moving through this video, guys. And again, if you are enjoying this, please leave a like in the video. And of course, let me know what you guys would like to see from me. I kind of like doing these videos to give a different perspective on some things. So definitely let me know what you guys are thinking and how you're feeling about this video and everything that's been going on thus far. I had a big announcement I'll be talking about in an upcoming video, I'm sure. So there's a lot of good things happening here. All right, revivals and clutches in gas are nearly on their own level. There's no other legend in the game that can as safely revive legends and buy time as Caustic, and that I put my money on. Because to me, the ability for people to want to push into gas is like 0. It's 100% 0. Like, you have a Watson generator, cool, but if they down someone, they're pushing around the corner. Even if you have Watson fences, they're shooting those fences. But if there is gas all around an area, you throw your gas bomb at your feet, you pop a gas canister over there, and it's just a blanket of gas. If they don't have grenades, they're just spraying and praying, but they're not walking in. And if you get around a corner so they can't spray and pray line of sight you, then you can get the safest revives. I've done it so many times, and I think it's one of the things we definitely do find ourselves underestimating. I mean, there's a lot of times where I'm 1v3ing as a Caustic because I can play the patient game. I'm the solo nobody wants to push that's left alive in a 1v3 because they don't want to deal with the gas. They don't want to get slowed. They don't want to hamper themselves and now become the bait on the switch. So I think this is a very important thing to remember, that Caustic somehow does get these little trades in his ability to survive better than other legends, and that's something that you want to pay attention to. Listen, I understand that people do consider Caustic isn't this invulnerable legend, and people do say, you know, Rain Day, Caustic still is visible. I got a digital threat. There's nothing he can do to hide from me while in this smoke. But you have to understand that most of the times, most of these fights in chaotic moments, they don't play like that. They play with the simplest common denominator. You do the first thing you think of, and pretty much when you see gas, you run away from it. And it's something that's instinctually been built into the Apex Legends community, and that's why I kind of think it's very, very underrated as far as what he provides to the table and how much wiggle room people give him to kind of like, oh, I'm not going to chase that Caustic. You get the revive off, boom, pop the gas canister, it's all good. Now, the number 5 thing that I think makes Caustic, so good. And this is a bigger perspective as to also what makes Watson so good and what you can expect as far as when you're playing Caustic and why and how you should pace yourself and what the advantage is when you're using him. Most people consider Caustic to be relatively elementary because of what he has to do to be successful, which is lay these gas traps that people see are coming. You could shoot the bottom of them. Okay, that's a problem. You can also have a huge hitbox to aim at. So in 1v1, sure, he takes more damage, but you're not missing most of your shots like you would on a Pathfinder or a Wraith's hitbox. And all of those things do pay attention. They do make, people look at this character and say, I'm at an advantage when I'm fighting him. But the thing is, what Caustics do that most people never understand is that they make your play predictable towards them. And if you can remember that as a Caustic main, you can win so many more 1v1s. You can win so many more fights. You can be such a successful player when you realize that, yes, people think that you're the one in trouble. You're the one who's being predictable, but you're actually making them predictable. It's the same thing as Watson too. When you fence a room, you know they're not coming into that room. If they do, they have to break into it with shooting your pylon fence or throwing a grenade. If your ultimate is up, you can't throw a grenade, so they have to push forward. And what you've just done there is you said, there's only one way they're getting in this room. So unless I hear footsteps outside and they're pushing forward, unless, pray to God, footsteps are heard, right? Then there's no way they can get in. So now I can move myself to a different denominator, which is I'm going to hold this angle. I'm going to watch this window. Go outside. I'll cover you because I'm not worried about my flank because I know what they have to do in order to get there, and they're still up on the mountaintop. And that is what Caustic can do. He can throw a gas canister there, and they say, if they run through this door, you are going to get hit by gas. If you do that, you're probably not going to keep pushing me. I could throw my gas canister at my feet, and yes, I know that you might run around or you might go attack my teammate, but I know you're not attacking me. And whether I continue to try to revive my teammate who's in the gas with me, or maybe I secretly push, like you saw at the beginning of that video, I got a little more aggressive. Threw the gas canister at my foot. They thought I might have been healing or running away. Boom, I actually got a little more aggressive towards them and ended up winning the fight because they didn't know where I was coming from, and they thought they had time to scramble and ignore me. When you do these things as a Caustic, you have to understand everyone else is like, okay, cool, all right, I'm out. And then that can be the difference in you now pushing them at the correct time. See, it's all about changing the way that you think with these legends, especially the ones that are underrated, and we can see now that we have been thinking about them wrong. If a team can come out of nowhere and win the biggest tournament in Apex Legends that's available to play during this quarantine when everyone is home with a Caustic and do it convincingly, then there is something we are underrating about this legend, myself included, and I'm trying to help you guys understand why. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please show me some love in the comment section below. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Let me know if there's anything I missed about why Caustic might be underrated to everyone in the world in Apex Legends and who might be playing him now. And my Caustic mains, I love you. I'm sorry for spitting mid-video. That was my bad. Brain Day, he's smart at Apex sometimes, but not always smart with food and all that good stuff. Anyways, I love you guys. Never give up, never stop gaming. Subscribe, stay tuned for the channel. I'll catch y'all next time.